box?
Yep.
Yeah, good job. Okay, David, you're all set. All right. Что я пожалуйста? Everybody, hashtag. All right. Do, re, mi, fa. All the way up. Ready?
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
We'll stop there. Good. Basses, nice job keeping that tone all the way up. Altos, we're a little breathy as we get to the top. I know it's early. Try and give it a little bit more support. Let's do that one more time. Do, sorry. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. Push to the top. Ready?
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Good. Now let's do that same thing again. This time, to go along with that, we're going to pull a rope. All right? We're going to pull ourselves up a mountain. So, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. We're going to stop at the top. So pull your rope, pull yourselves up the mountain. Get your ropes ready. We don't want to fall off the mountain before we start. Ready?
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Good. I'm getting some people who are giving us a lot of pressure, like they're actually pulling themselves up, and I see a couple just like you're dancing in the club. So really put some weight behind it. Put some weight. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. Again. Ready?
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Good. So we're going to use that a lot today, this idea of the mountain. So as we get to the top, this is going to be true for our sopranos and tenors mostly, but as we get to the top, we want to keep that same rich tone. So when you pull yourself up to the peak of the mountain, it takes a little bit more energy when you get to the top, right? Because you see the finish line, and you want to just get over it. So keep that same tone. So imagine your sound as a mountain. We have this nice, rich bass. Make sure you're standing feet apart. Make sure you're pulling the air up through your gut. We got our nice, rich bass. We still have this height and this resonance. We still have that peak of that mountain. So let's do it again. This time we're going to go up and down. Same thing on solfege. Keep your ropes going. Up and down. 1, 2, 3.
Do, re, mi, fa,
Feel that weight in your stomach as you go up.
la, ti, do,
And down.
ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Good. That's really nice. Tenors, thank you so much. You guys have the best tone as we get to the top. Sopranos, try and emulate that. Can I have just the tenors real quick? Do that once. Just going up the scale, not going down. Do, ready.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Good. So did you hear as they went to the top, they sort of pushed into it? Make sure you're doing that as well, sopranos, because you guys are going to have the hardest job with maintaining this sound because you guys are up in your upper register. All right, last time on that. Now I want you to do with your sound the way a mountain looks. So a mountain typically goes like this, right? Goes up and then down. So what is that going to mean dynamically? All right, don't tell me, I want you to show me. All right? Going up and down. Keep pulling that rope. Ready?
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Good, and you guys did exactly what I thought you would. It was really nice pushing to the top, but as we come down, we still want that same pressure. Just because we're getting quiet doesn't mean we lose that intensity. So as you come down, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. You still want to keep that tone. All right, you guys can go ahead and sit down, and you're going to take out Blagoslovi Dusha Moya Gospoda. It's the Russian piece. It's actually Bless the Lord, O my soul. It has a nice blue cover. Once you do that, I want you to stand right back up. I know, I'm torturing you today. Can anyone tell me one thing they think they know about Russian choral music? That can be tone, that can be text. Give me something. Todd.
Lots of phlegm.
Lots of phlegm. All right. Not the word choice I would have used, but good. Ashton.
Consonants are really important.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Abby? Yeah, we got this nice, rich, full sound. We don't want to go too dark. We don't want to sound like, we don't want to sound gross, and we don't want to go too nasally. We want to find that nice richness in between. So let's go ahead and start. Page 6, measure 19, beat 2. Right there on that is. All right, and we're just going to try and go through this once. We'll see if we can scale this mountain in one attempt. So let's see how we do. So I'm going to give you basses, tenors. Yeah. Starting right there. Sorry, my bad. Let's do that on solfege. And it'd help if I gave you something to sing on. Right there, top of page 6. Fa, 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 ti, re, sol. Yep. Everyone just hold that out real quick. Hold out your note on your solfege. Yep, find it altos. Try it again. Ready? Re. Good. This time going on. Good. All right, can somebody give me one thing they thought we did well going through that just sight reading at once? One thing they thought we did really well as a group. Quinn.
We got to the end.
We got to the end. That's always the end goal, right? We don't want to get up the mountain and get stuck. All right, so we got up and down. We went through it and got to the end. Now give me one thing we can improve upon doing this again this next time. Eric.
We don't really sound like we're singing the eighth notes completely together.
No, we don't, and we're going to fix that. So why don't we go ahead and start at the same place with the basses. I want to have everybody on that bass line. And you're going to sing it together on the solfege. Fa, fa, mi, 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 sol, mi. Right there. Everybody on the bass line. 1.
Fa, fa, mi, 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 sol, mi, 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 fa, 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 sol, 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 sol.
Good, and we just ride that low sol for a while. Good. That sounds a lot better pitch-wise for the basses. Did that help you, basses? Help you out with those pitches? Good. Let's do that again. This time, we're going to have the basses on their part. Everyone else, I want you to hum their part, and you guys are going to sing it on solfege. So we'll have fa, fa, mi, and that way I can hear them a little bit better. All right, same place, and really give me that rich mountain sound. All right, we want to sound like a mountain, not the Empire State Building. All right, so nice, good bass, but still has a little bit of height. Fa, fa, mi, 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 sol, mi. Right there. 1.
Fa, fa, mi, 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 sol, mi, 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 fa, 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 sol.
Good. All right, let's move on from there, and let's add in our altos. Everybody up to the alto line. Basses, you're going to stay on your part. And when we get to the word vote, so measure 22, 21 on vote. Hold out that pitch on your notes so we can tune that. What's up?
So are we humming our parts or are we humming the alto part?
You're going to sing the alto part on solfege with them. Sing the alto part on solfege. Basses on your own part. In whatever octave's comfortable on solfege. 1.
Fa, fa, mi, 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 sol, mi, 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 fa, fa.
Good. Can anyone tell me what we did in our warm-up that we're not doing now? It has to do with that last little thing we did with this sort of dynamic shaping. Ashton.
Crescendoing?
Yeah, we're not climbing that mountain. Right now we're kind of just walking along a Kansas plain. It's just kind of flat. So do that same thing. Basses on your part, everybody else on the alto, and really climb that mountain. Let's go ahead and get that rope started again, just with one hand, so you can hold your music. And let's really make sure we're moving this music. 1.
Fa, fa, mi, 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 so, mi, fa, fa.
Good. That was 10 times better, growing wise. Let's go ahead and add the sopranos and tenors on their own part. Now you guys know how that harmonic setup is going to sound like. So let's see if you guys can get this done. So tenors, or basses, altos, tenors, sopranos. T, right there. T,
Fa, fa, mi, mi, so, mi, fa.
Push through this.
Fa,
Good. Let's have sopranos right there on top of the page, last measure. Do, 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 re, mi. That leap's a little weird, I know. It's just a perfect octave. Just sopranos. Ready? Or, sorry. The altos were looking at me like, I'm not a soprano. Ready? My bad. Let's try it again. Ready? Good. All right, everybody on your parts, let's do that again from top of page 6. And like I said, try and think of this mountain, pull that rope if you need to, and really let this grow in decrescendo musically from the top of that page. Fa. Yep, just make sure. Right there.
Fa, fa, mi, mi, so, mi, fa, fa. Fa,
Good. It's sounding really nice. Can somebody give me one thing that they think we did really well today? Overall? Something different from the first time I asked this question. Marie, what's something we did really well this last run through?
I feel like we remembered to dynamically do the mountain better.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's sounding a little bit more like a tall hill right now, but we'll get it up to a mountain in the next few rehearsals. Can somebody give me one more thing they thought we did really, really well with this? Julia?
We were together.
Yeah, we were together. That's always, it seems like such a basic thing, but it's really important to getting a good sound. So sit down. I just want to talk real briefly about the text. We're not going to get into the Russian today. We're not in a rush to get to it. But, so the text of what we just sang is this. Who redeems your life from destruction, who crowns you with loving kindness and tender mercies. So this piece is called Bless the Lord, O my soul. All right, that's a pretty easily determined to be sacred text. Can we all agree on that? But, so in this case, who redeems your life from destruction refers to God. But for us, it doesn't have to. Who can be anything that you hold sacred, whether it's a person, a book, a song, a movie, whatever that means for you. So for class on Monday, I want you to bring in something that you hold sacred to your life. All right, whether that's a book, a picture of your dog. Don't bring in your dog. Just bring in something that's really sacred to you. In this case, the author or the composer of this piece, it was God. For us, it can be any number of things. But it's important that we all have something to hold on to in our minds as we sing this, because that's really going to take our sound from an anthill to a mountain. All right? So I will see you on Monday. Pust musica blagoslovit vas. May music bless you.
All right. Panic mode. You have a minute. You have a
Remember
whole
my
minute.
dog in on Tuesday? David said that was good.
What's that?
Remember my dog in on Tuesday? David
No,
said that
no. No, that was a fake. It was a fake Tuesday lesson. Okay.
Can I bring my dog in on Monday?
Sure. Let's look here. Creative, hardworking, funny, loyal, and passionate. I mean,
misspelled punny.
It's misspelled punny. Yes. Oh, that. Well, we did get that. We did get the Russian thing. David has the most experience in this particular, I think, in the room, I think, having actually gotten up in front of a group of people, right? As far as like having them sing. And so that informs how he presents himself as kind of a choral rehearsal technician. So that means that I'm going to be harder on him probably than I am most of you for that very reason. But at the same time, it also means that when you came in, what your primary instrument is?
Barry sax.
Yes, and when you came in, you had convinced yourself that you were going to be like a band director, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're kind of straddling the line. You're not quite exactly sure what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just been by virtue of, and I think this is important for all of you, by virtue of simply gaining and gleaning experiences where he wanted them, and just getting up in front of a group. In fact, getting up in front of a group of people and probably failing a lot is one of the reasons why you seem very comfortable up here. Does that make sense? So it has nothing to do with David's talent, because not a single one of you is less talented than David. And I just want to make that very, very clear, that you are all as capable as David of all this stuff. Now that being said, David, let's rip you apart. You need to stand the hell still.
Yeah.
Because you do this like potty dance thing. That's like that. It's partly because you brought so much good energy to the rehearsal. Thank you, because this can be a Debbie Downer of a piece if you let it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the energy is now starting to kind of do this kind of like four square kind of dance thing,
Yeah.
and it's a little chaotic in that sense. And I think part of it was you were a little bit on the nervous side about getting everything in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you ended up having a minute. You also did you get the sense that he felt a little rushed? Yes. Yeah, there was just a little, yeah. So it was just like I know why, and that's an easy thing to do, and you're always going to feel like you're probably pushing it, but try to, at the same time you're engaging with that level of energy, that you're also trying to vary the pace. The pace was very, and at no point did it go, you didn't kind of maintain, you didn't do a mountain of energy. You did like mesa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just like, it's a high elevation and go. Okay? And that can be really exhausting. That can be really exhausting. So just be careful of that. You're doing a lot of things that I think are great. You just started, which is no scale. When you conduct, you need to give them eye contact. Okay? You're really good about eye contact when you're giving them instruction and giving them things to do. And then you conduct and you check out. And it gives them no reason to look at you. Your conducting is pretty solid when it comes to this. It's too big. And you'll see that. But it's partly too big because of the feedback you're getting. Although that's some of the best feedback from the ensemble that we've gotten in a long time. So that's really, really great. And I think it has everything to do with you just kind of holding their feet to the fire. Like they use other sections as models. Good. The noise I made back there when I freaked out was when you said, "Don't tell me, show me," which is one of my favorite things to say, because it doesn't just, you can ask them what something means and they'll be able to explain it, but that's different than doing what they think something means. And so if they can do what something means, then not only do they understand it, but they can do it, and that's more important. Okay, so they can explain to you what a crescendo is, but then not do it, and then it's worthless, because a crescendo is nothing if you can just explain it and not perform it. So then just show me is a much better approach. If the beginning of something isn't square, you're not going to get a good middle. Okay, so there were a couple times where you gave a beautiful breath cue, and they didn't come in, and you blamed yourself. You said, "My bad." Sometimes it was your bad, sometimes it wasn't, and it's okay to say, "No, that one was on me," or "No, that one was on you." It's okay to take ownership when it's your problem, but not when it's not. Let's see. There are a couple times where you spoon-fed them information that I think you could have led them to be a little bit more constructivist. This is where you can be like, instead of saying fa, ti, are you altos? Yes. Fa, ti, so, whatever the hell. So, no, okay. So instead of giving their solfege a little, preface, let them discover it themselves. That's what constructivism is. Anything we did well? It's okay. Yeah, I think that's an okay question because it's making them evaluate what they're doing. When is sight reading? Oh, okay. When you have anybody sight read a piece and you do it one time, I almost always let them do it one more, because a lot of times the thing you're about to fix will fix itself if they just have another stab at it, because you guys are smart enough to realize some of the mistakes you made. So, and then if after the second time they screw up the thing that you wanted to fix, then you know it wasn't something they could have handled on their own. So the fact that you did go back and fix the soprano octave leap, that do 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 re mi 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 re do re do, that was something that needed another time. But I think that some of the other mistakes could have been hammered out by them just having another read, which would have saved you time to having the basses, having erasing the bass. So it's just a matter of give them a chance to prove themselves. And you can even frame it that way. It's like when you give them a reason to repeat. It's like, I'm going to give you another chance to kind of redeem yourselves in that, because there was just one or two mistakes that I think you'll get after doing it another time. Stop saying me. Only a couple times. And this is a problem I have. Not a building, or sorry, do a mountain, not the Empire State Building. I don't know what that means. I was like, what do you mean?
Like a mountain's like this, Empire State Building's like this, so make sure you have that like dark, rich sound and not just too much like.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's just that the risk of analogy, and this is just what's great about analogy, is that some people will get it and some people won't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the best way that you can do analogy is you've got to make them do something physical with it. So if you can attach physical with it, then you're good to go. Does that make sense? Because then they'll have an idea of like, oh, okay, it's not supposed to be like, nah, nah, nah. It's supposed to have that base to it. Is this making sense, everybody? You're all looking at me like I'm dying. I'm like, no, my funeral's not today. There are times where your directions weren't clear, partly because you were kind of fast. Do you know what I mean? Like you would go, ah! and sometimes you were just saying things. And that's why you got the question. Now, what was interesting is your directions were unclear, but your pace and energy were high enough that you had allowed the ensemble to invest to the point where they wanted to know what you wanted. Do you understand that distinction? Like somebody in the room was like, I want to know what's going on, as opposed to you being kind of like low energy and you not being clear. What would have happened is people would have just kind of been mousy and not said anything. But the fact that you created an environment in just 10 minutes, that's a good thing that happened, but at the same time, if we can be clear in our instructions, that's better. And that's hard. And then so the question I have for you is, what's more important, speed or clarity? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Is it better to be fast and maybe sometimes miss something? Or is it better to be clear and slow the hell down? Boy, if I can figure that one out, that's one of my struggles. Not in our warm-up, but now. Why? What? Not in our warm-up. Oh. What was something we were doing in our warm-up, but we're not now, and then why? So the question is, they were not doing the pull, right? They were not doing the pull. Why weren't you doing the pull? Just be honest.
Because you didn't tell us to.
Oh, well, okay. He didn't tell you to. It wasn't implied. Okay, that's really interesting. Good. Yeah, he didn't tell you to until that moment. So you were hoping there might have been some application, and there wasn't immediately. What else?
We were sight reading.
Oh my God, it's too new, right? It's just too dang new, and you're like multitasking. People, this is really important. People cannot multitask. It is not possible. I'll say it again for people in the back. People can't multitask. It is not possible. What multitasking actually ends up being, that is not multitasking. I'm sorry. That is one task that you have that used to be two, that you have now combined into one. That is not multitasking. Now, if I were to have you do this in something else,
Can you jump up and down? Let's do it.
worse. Okay? All you are doing, that's really one task. It's really one task. Now, when I start doing something else on top of this, the thing about multitasking is it works like an iPhone. Human multitasking works like an iPhone. There's only one thing ever in the foreground, and then there's a bunch of things in the background. That's how it works. It's not like a computer where you can have multiple windows open on the same screen. Okay? It's like an iPhone. You can look at one program and focus on it, while in the background, your iPhone is updating its email, it's looking at your calendar, it's checking your Facebook status, and so on and so forth. That's all background stuff. But only one thing at a time can be in the foreground. So the thing in the foreground right there was what? Yeah, what the hell are the notes? Okay? So what's the quickest and easiest way for you to help them get something from foreground into background? Well, repetition's one, absolutely. Do it to the point where it's automatic, right? Muscle memory. Okay? How can you help that process be faster?
Combine the two.
Combine two things, right? Combine things that are connected. So if you're making them sight sing, and you want them to make things like a mountain, which you never did. Does that make sense? The second you would have done this, you would have been reinforcing the idea, even though it looks like multitasking, you would have been reinforcing it's one thing at a time. You would have been reinforcing the idea that they need to crescendo while they do that line, without them even really thinking about it. And then it starts to become automatic. You understand what I'm saying here? And then you can add on top of it. Imagine if you had tried to add Russian today, and then got mad at you for not crescendoing while you were doing Russian on a new piece. Like, that's the risk that I don't want you to fall into. Okay? So you gotta be really realistic about what people can do on a first read, a second read, and a third read. But you can also have your cake and eat it too. You can get them to do the crescendo if you incorporate a gesture. Or analogy is good, but analogy doesn't work as well because you can't, unless you yell over the top of your conducting, which you were doing a good job of. Every once in a while that's effective. If it's a really loud piece, you're not gonna hear it. But you could hear him when he says, now push, and that was like a good reminder, right? You don't need to yell, well, push, if they're doing it to themselves, which is their job anyway. Sorry, I'm getting a little heated. Dang it. Better start, blah, blah, blah. I like the summary and asking, but at the end, you have a tendency to stop a phrase too soon to rehearse it, just a little bit too soon.
Okay.
Like I know why you're doing it. You were kind of like, okay, I don't have time for that. Okay, so you fix the thing with the soprano. Just let it go a little bit longer. I think will give them a little bit more satisfaction. Because is it fun? I mean, I struggle with this. Is it fun to break a piece down to the point where you're just like nitpicking everything and you're not like getting to do a whole line? No, it can be tedious and gross. So just make sure that you put it back and give them a little bit of music. And the only thing I would say is that since you had a minute left, I would have planted a seed of maybe next time what you could have done is bring in your sacred object, demonstrate how it changes the way you sing, and then maybe they can imagine their sacred object before they share it and sing it one more time with that kind of knowledge, because you didn't end with something musical, you ended with this kind of like, they got excited. I mean, I saw Puppy, you know, it was very cool. All in all, it was very strong, but here's the thing, for you to get better, because you've had more experience with this, for you to get better, it's going to take a lot more energy than people who feel a little bit less secure. So if you want to go from where you are to where you're going to get, it's going to take a much more investment than somebody who's really just kind of getting their sea legs for a while. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you've got a heavy road ahead of you. Okay, questions? Comments? Oh, cool. Great. Let's move on.